Hi, I'm Chris. In my day job, I'm a consultant for Thoughtworks, but the reason I'm at this conference is to talk about my, professional programming hobby, which is using code to talk about music theory. Specifically, I'm talking at Lambda World about the music theory of birdsong. And I think that's interesting because as programmers, we often deal with making programs for people who we can't speak to, and birds are an extreme example of this. I guess we use whatever the client uses because, we have to be good guests in their house. So why people don't use, I think it's a kind of a skill and ecosystem question. So there are companies that use Scala or Clojure. They kind of have to go all in on the ecosystem. I think there are other languages that maybe it's easier to get people who are not going to conferences about the programming language to use day to day. And so unfortunately, without that kind of real cultural commitment, it's hard. Kotlin is maybe an exception. I know lots of companies that are willing to do Kotlin and then maybe move on to functional programming in Kotlin, perhaps because, it's used in Android and it's less threatening a functional programming language. I guess my own journey is to read lots of Wikipedia pages and then write programs to experiment with what I've heard. So I think really the nice thing about using code for music theory is you can try stuff out. You don't have to just take other people's word for it or read an article about some symphony or music analysis. What you can do is you can make some sounds and get going. In particular, so I use the programming environment Overtone, which is for Clojure. I think a lot of people also get started with other ones that you might have, like Tidal Cycles for Haskell or Sonic Pi, which is aimed at school children. I think it's just really nice to be back. So, there has been a period of time at which programming communities maybe have lost something of the places where people connect. And I think that if you were someone who already had connections in the programming world, you could, like I've been around for a while, I could use my social capital over that time. But I think the really problem has been people who have been coming into the profession in the last few years haven't had the same place to develop their craft or their profession or their passion. So what I've really found nice is being able to talk to people again. And I guess the nice thing about meeting and socializing with people at a programming conference is it's a given that everyone will be a little bit awkward on the socialization side. So this was provided a really nice place to connect. In terms of what it feels like in the logistics and everything, I would say it feels just like it has been other years. The organizers have definitely got a good amount of continuity and preserve the spirit. Cádiz is a great place to come, right? It's a very unusual and special city, even in Spain. Obviously, the food's great, the history is interesting. It's also just quite a nice place to spend time and walk around. Like there are some cities that make it hard for you to get from A to B or see all the sites. Cádiz is, through its geography, quite compact. So it's a really nice place to spend a few days and you can see most of what you need to see.